So, friends, Donald Trump's corrupt DOJ officials finally found a prosecutor to sign off on the equally corrupt motion to dismiss the criminal case against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, this guy, Emil Bove, one of Donald Trump's former criminal defense attorneys, who is now a high Department of Justice official, has reportedly been going around trying to strong-arm prosecutors into signing what looks like a pretty clearly corrupt motion to dismiss Eric Adams' criminal case. And prosecutor after prosecutor, supervisor after supervisor, even a United States attorney put in place by the Trump administration have refused and resigned. These are righteous resignations rather than doing the wrong thing, the unethical thing, the corrupt thing. But now it looks like Bove finally found a prosecutor willing to sign the motion to dismiss. Here's the new reporting. This from ABC News. Headline: DOJ files motion to dismiss charges in Mayor Eric Adams' case after several prosecutors resign. And that article begins, the Department of Justice has filed a motion to dismiss corruption charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams after a series of top prosecutors resigned in protest this week. An attorney in the Justice Department's Public Integrity Section, Edward Sullivan, signed the paperwork Friday evening, which was required to move forward with seeking the formal dismissal of charges. The move ends an extraordinary stalemate between prosecutors in the department's Public Integrity Section and Bove, who earlier this week instructed prosecutors in the Southern District of New York to dismiss the case against Adams. That request led to a scathing letter from acting U.S. Attorney Danielle Sassoon to U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, suggesting Bove and other members of DOJ leadership were explicitly aware of a quid pro quo suggested by Adams' attorneys, saying Adams' vocal support of Trump's immigration policies would be boosted by dismissing the indictment against him. Sassoon then resigned, later joined by three other top supervisory officials within the Public Integrity Section in Washington, D.C., where the case had been reassigned. The impasse continued into Friday, when many of the section's leaders refused to sign the paperwork and also resigned in protest. Before Bove gathered the rest of the section early Friday to tell them that there would be serious consequences if no one stepped forward to sign the paperwork. Sources familiar with the matter told ABC News. Now that the paperwork is filed, a federal judge will still have to decide whether the case can be dismissed. And friends, I'm not even going to bother reading you any of this 2 or 3 page motion to dismiss because it's not worth the paper it's written on. But Bove's strong-arm tactics apparently had the desired effect of having a prosecutor step forward to sign the motion to dismiss. A gentleman named Edward Sullivan, a senior litigation counsel, a senior prosecutor in the Public Integrity Section at the Department of Justice. And before you leap to the conclusion that, well, I guess Sullivan doesn't care about his ethics, about whether this is a corrupt motion to dismiss, maybe he doesn't need his bar license anymore. Here's the thing. There is some reporting about how once Bove went and gathered together the remaining lawyers, prosecutors in the Public Integrity Section, those who hadn't already resigned because they refused to file this corrupt motion to dismiss, he apparently communicated, look, there will be consequences. There will be hell to pay. Somebody is going to put their name on this motion to dismiss. And the further reporting suggests, we're going to need to hear more about this, but that Edward Sullivan may be retirement eligible and he may have stepped up to, in essence, save the rest of the prosecutors and said, you know what, I'll put my name on it. You know, inferentially, leave the others alone. As I say, we have to await more reporting, but that is some of the reporting about how Edward Sullivan's name came to be signed to this motion to dismiss. But here's the thing. It will now be in the hands of a federal court judge in New York, Judge Dale Ho. And boy, I never wanted to be a judge, friends, and I'll tell you stories someday about whether there was a possibility I might end up a judge. It's not much of a story, and I never wanted to be a judge. But boy, I'd like to be judge for a day. I would like to be presiding over this motion to dismiss. But that will be up to Judge Ho. But I'll tell you, I would make sure Beauvais is called to the witness stand, placed under oath, and I would grill him about what appears to be a corrupt motion to dismiss, because Beauvais has made statements saying, for example, oh, this wasn't based on the strength or the weakness of the evidence. No, no, no. The evidence was just fine. They probably could have won a conviction against Eric Adams. Had nothing to do with the quality or the quantity of the evidence or the law that was being used to pursue this case. But it was because this might interfere with Eric Adams' ability to help Donald Trump and his administration in any number of their political priorities. You know, if I were Judge Ho, I would say, okay, so Mr. Beauvais, if you assume, hypothetically, that a prosecutor went up to a defendant and said, look, the evidence against you is strong, you're indicted, you're pending trial, but I'll dismiss your criminal case if you'll help me with my political priorities and aspirations. What do you say? And if that defendant agreed to help the prosecutor, and the prosecutor then dismissed the criminal case against that defendant, Mr. Beauvais, wouldn't that constitute bribery? Using your official position and an official act in exchange for a personal favor, a thing of value to you personally? Wouldn't that be conspiracy to commit bribery? Wouldn't that even potentially be obstructing justice? And if that's what you did, Mr. Beauvais, I suggest you're going to be in a world of hurt. You know, I could go on all day cross-examining a guy like Emil Beauvais, because this thing stinks. It looks as corrupt as a dismissal of a criminal case could possibly be. Eric Adams, you help us with our political priorities and we'll take care of that little criminal case that you have against you, that trial that you are pending. We got you, but you got to do a favor for us, though. So friends, we'll stay tuned. We'll see what Judge Ho decides to do, how he decides to conduct this hearing and make this decision about whether to grant this apparently corrupt motion to dismiss. I hope he gets to the bottom of Beauvais' scheme, because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.